Welcome on into the Utah Blockcast. I'm Steve Bartle. That's Josh Bennett. Back at it for another live stream previewing number 17 Cincinnati against number 24 Utah at Rice-Eccles Stadium this Saturday night, 8:15 kickoff. Really looking forward to this matchup, Bennett. What do you make of this matchup?
Yeah, no, it should be a lot of fun. It's Utah got things back on track, has a big opponent rolling into town. Cincinnati, 17th ranked, College GameDay, the full day to build excitement and hype. The stadium, it's electric, it's different, all of that. When you get into Rice-Eccles for a night game, it's a sight to behold. And I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that. And just, we're into the month of November at this point, and football still means something. So that's good. Means something for, the two teams in this matchup, not necessarily the team that I'm wearing on my head, this Dolphins hat, for those that might be listening and not watching. Yeah, no, definitely. And this weekend is going to be fun. Again, ESPN College GameDay is going to be on campus at President's Circle for the Saturday morning show. They'll also be doing some TV tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 1:30. So if you want to get up there, get a sneak peek at the setting, you can head up there from 1 to 1:30. They'll have the college football live show that you can watch, you can enjoy. They'll have some things that you can do and stuff like that. But yeah, obviously an exciting time, and I'm going to be up there tomorrow to actually talk to the media personalities, and that's always an interesting opportunity. Looking forward to hearing from Pat McAfee and the guys up there. So should be fun, man. Is there anything you're hoping to see this weekend with ESPN College GameDay? How does Witt, basically what I'm asking is, how does Witt top what he did last time? Yeah, I don't think you try to.
Okay, fair.
I think you maybe just follow the script. Do it again. Just do it again. If you want to wear cutoff sleeves on Halloween, wear cutoff sleeves on Halloween. Your pumping, your morning pump will probably carry you through and keep you warm.
Man, look what you've done, Bennett. You've brought the Dolphins comments out of the woodworks, man. They are flying in the chat. Where's all these Chargers comments, man?
Sorsby to the Fins would be electric. I don't wish anything well on anybody that, like, to the Dolphins. Like, I don't wish that upon anybody. Like, it's Sorsby deserves better. I remember when the Dolphins drafted Kawamisi, and I ran around the living room and I was all ecstatic, and wasn't good for our guy Kawamisi.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely looking forward to this one. And on tonight's show, we'll obviously dive into everything. We'll kind of we'll go back to last week's game a little bit, touch on some things there. Obviously, some conversations to be had this week about what we saw last week and how that translates to this week and some of the conversation there. But again, really looking forward to this matchup. Again, the first time Cincinnati and Utah have faced off against one another. Cincinnati coming in, like we said, number 17 in the country, 7-1, 5-0 Big 12 play, and Utah coming off a big win, 53-7, just an absolute demolition of the Colorado Buffaloes in every phase. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup, just from that alone. So let's get into things here. Welcome in our special fan guest of the night to help us with the conversation here. So Marcus, welcome to the show, man.
How we doing, fellas?
How are you doing,
Marcus? Good. How are you doing, brother?
I mean, now that I know my audio works, love it. Oh, fantastic.
Love it, dude. Yeah, love it, man. Appreciate you hopping on and take some time to join the conversation with us. So let's go back to last week, 53-7. Going into that game, I'd be curious to hear kind of where you were at as a fan and what that win did, for your kind of perspective and mindset moving forward.
Confidence builder we needed. Especially one thing it gave us confidence in is the QB room. I'm not one of the people saying controversy. Dampier is the guy, but knowing that we have two guys who can do what we do is excellent. Ficklin looked as good as he could have. The defense was getting pressure. I was texting a buddy. It's not often you say we won 53-7 and it wasn't that close. I think we were up 420 yards of offense, 430, something like that at half.
Yep.
They had negative rushing yards. So, like, in terms of building confidence in the defense and basically just confidence that we can just put teams away and bully them, that's good. Because I think one thing I've realized with this year's team, if they're ahead of the curve, that not a lot of teams can come back on them. They're maybe not built to come back, but if they get ahead of you, you're in trouble. So
let me throw this to you guys. So obviously we saw the first half numbers. 43-0 is all you really need to see, but the 398 total yards for Utah to minus 18 yards for Colorado. Was last week's performance more about Utah sort of dictating things, or more about Colorado not coming in fully prepared for the contest against Utah?
I mean, they were the ones with 2 weeks to prepare for that game, and nobody was holding Colorado to that limited amounts of production to keep it short. So, tip of the hat to Utah. Would love to see that kind of performance, that dominant performance against a team with a bit more of a pulse. So that's where Saturday feels like an opportunity.
Marcus, go ahead.
Colorado's not exactly on the trajectory you want them to be, but at the same time, there's talent on that roster. I mean, Keaton Salter's a great QB, and what he was saying in the postgame is, like, we thought we came into this well prepared, and they just started throwing looks at us that we hadn't even considered. So it's good to know Scally's still got things in the tool bag that we can break out, and that we're not a figured out team. So that, I think it really is more about Utah. They took it to them and they got ahead early, and a team in Colorado that, nobody considers a top tier team in the conference, but they've given some good teams some problems. Like, they're definitely dangerous, and Utah absolutely did not encounter any danger at any time because of how assertive they played and how aggressive it was.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Utah came into that game with obviously a tremendous game plan on defense that was 100% the correct call in every way. And I think Kyle Whittingham said it best, where it just had a snowball effect where the more they blitzed, the more effective it was. And really, you could see that compounding effect on Caden Salter and his decision-making, and some of the decisions he made throughout the night got worse and worse. Obviously, with the cherry on top being that safety to just throw it away where nobody was, and just the pressure there getting to him and forcing him into that mistake. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I think last week's win was more about Utah coming in with a great game plan and sort of dictating things as well. So now that we have that game in the rear view, Bird Ficklin, tremendous game. Obviously won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, Big 12 Freshman of the Week. I think the first quarterback in the Big 12 to do that this season. What has that done for the quarterback room and the conversation around it? It's not a controversy, but it's a conversation.
Marcus?
We're going to make me go for the controversial one? All right.
You're our guest.
Yes.
I don't consider it a controversy. I think this is, in terms of the locker room, it looks to me like it's Dan Pierce's team, and he's had a lot of good games so far this season. It's awesome to know we have Ficklin, especially for the future. And it's awesome to know, God forbid something happens to Dan Pierce injury-wise, we've got a guy who can pick up the torch and keep running. I don't consider it a controversy. There's a lot to like about Ficklin's game in terms of his aggressiveness, his ability to make those split-second decisions, which for a freshman is awesome, and the zip he gets on the ball. But I do think there's a lot Dan Pierce brings to the table that works better with our offense, especially against tougher defenses. So in my mind, it's a confidence, not a controversy. I like where it's at, and I think if there's opportunities to get Ficklin involved with Dan Pierce still starting, fantastic. That's not an easy thing to do, but it's not a controversy in my mind. It's good to know we have two great QBs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the exact thought I have. Is it's a great thing to feel confident in in the next guy. That's something that's been missing the last couple years, and it's led to undesirable results, to say the least. So having that guy that can come in, handle business, that says a lot, and that should do a lot for the confidence of Utah fans moving forward. You can only use that excuse, oh, our cornerback was hurt so many times, before nobody cares. And Utah used that 2 seasons in a row. This was what you wanted to see from Beck, and I think this is kudos to Beck, being able to get a true freshman quarterback in the game, ready to go, rock and roll. It took not even 2 quarters of football to get all the production you needed in a football game.
Yeah, I'm with you guys, and there's been a lot of conversation amongst media members this week about Utah's quarterback room and there being a controversy. And again, like, from what we've heard from Whittingham, from what I've heard from updates from sources, like, there's nothing here. There's no controversy. This is Devin Dampier's team, and that speaks to who he is as a player, who he is as a leader, and just the respect that he has of his teammates. And I think that says a lot. And Bird Ficklin played great, right? There's no denying he played great. Obviously, starting 1 for 7, maybe holding on to our butts a little bit, kind of worried about how that night was going to go. But once he settled in, man, he looked great. And 9 of 15 the rest of the way, really looked good, looked in command of the offense. And I think that's really impressive. We said this on Sunday, Bennett, but the fact that he just looked as comfortable and as confident as he did, like he belonged on the field, he wasn't a deer in the headlights, I think is the most reassuring and confidence building element to our evaluation of Ficklin, more than anything that he does with the ball in his hands. I think just the fact that he has that sort of presence, on the field as a true freshman already is really impressive. So, I'm with you guys. Devin Dampier, this is his team, but Ficklin did a lot to really boost the confidence and optimism in and around that room.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday, because it's an opportunity for Dampier to kind of step up and show, like, hey, look, I'm still here. This is still my team. He goes out and gets that 30-point win. Then what? Everybody goes back to this. Just Utah has QB1 and QB2 in the state as far as quarterback power rankings go. It's an easy thing to get distracted by the shiny new object. We see some of the local media maybe stirring some of that pot, but you're where you need to be to get your facts right. There's no controversy in the quarterback room. Dampier's team, let him do his thing on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how he responds, right? He's a competitive guy, and I asked him about that, just how they're sort of competitive, in that room together. And he said it's all love. They're pushing each other to do better. And for a fact that the way that Bird performed is going to motivate him and push him to perform better. So really interested to see how he performs this weekend. And obviously a big test with Cincinnati coming in, obviously 7-1, 5-0 in Big 12 play. They've won 7 straight games. Brennan Sorsby is playing great football, arguably the best in the Big 12, to say the least, but one of the top 5 quarterbacks, arguably, in the country this year. So, this is a big game, and I'd be curious to hear from you guys. What are our expectations for Utah going into this game, or what are your expectations for Utah going into this game in turn, coming off of that performance last week, what it did, to kind of help the mentality, the outlook moving forward. But what are your expectations going into Saturday night's contest?
Guess first.
I mean, Sorsby in a conference with a lot of good QBs, he's looked very good. I watched a little bit of Cincy to try and prep for this, and the guy's good. He takes he's a good mix of decisive, but he also takes what the defense is given to him. So I think a lot of what we need to do is safety play is where a lot of this is going to come down to. And fortunately for us, Benny's got a good nose for the ball. Teo Johnson's good in coverage. So we've got a good mix. And I think he's good. We have a defense that's well equipped for it. That's going to be nice. A guy you'd miss right now is like a Karene Reed. So somebody needs to step into that role, I think, be getting sideline to sideline, because if Sorsby starts getting upfield, it looks like he's going to hurt you. So I think the biggest thing on defense is just they're going to get theirs, but you got to contain it. And on offense, I really think we can push them around with the run. I really do. I think Daniel Bray is going to be good enough. And from what I've seen of Cincinnati, their front isn't terrible, but they leave holes where our run game tends to find them. So I'm seeing a lot of things line up where I'm like, I think there's opportunities there. And if we play our game, we don't try and lean into throw too much. Don't get off our game. I think things look good.
Love it. Bennett?
Yeah, I think Utah needs to play like the best team Cincinnati's faced all season. And that should be step one. Cincinnati, while they stacked up some wins, this is their first. They got to win against Iowa State. Iowa State kind of proving that they're maybe not what they once were believed to be. Utah kind of in that territory. Is Utah good? Is Utah not good? This is a game where Utah needs to show, hey, Utes are just a weight class above, a tier above. That kind of needs to be apparent from the jump. Don't want to get too much into the winning recipe that I've put together here, but Cincinnati, they like to get out front and they like to control the game, and that's not going to cut it for Utah. Utah needs to be the ones getting out front, and Marcus touched on that earlier. That Utah's built to play with the lead. Need to see some of that. Sorsby's great. He's been an awesome quarterback. You could put him wherever you want in the rankings, the power rankings for the Big 12. The way that he just has that, he has really good balance. He has really good poise. He has good patience. He's not horrible when he gets pressured. You don't get home against him very often, but that's credit to him, getting rid of the ball or taking off before that opportunity comes. He's a good quarterback. I know there's a lot of words being said about Evan Pryor missing this game. One thing to keep in mind, Tawee Walker, the other running back, it's very much a 1-2 punch there. Walker has 12 yards less than Pryor, so they very much still have a running back, a running back that can kind of do this and kind of do that, a little bit of power, a little bit of speed. So they're going to be a tough out, but this is that kind of game that you'd love to see Utah come in and Utah's smoking everybody that they're not. This is a team that you'd love to see Utah smoke in a on national stage with all the college game day attention and everything, ranked win. This would be one of those games that I think would help the people who still aren't fully healed from a loss a couple weekends ago. This would be what I think might piece everybody back together.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And before we kind of get into more of the matchup here, want to talk about ESPN College GameDay's celebrity guest picker, Alex Smith, announced as Utah's guest picker this weekend. Just want to hear from you guys, Marcus, Bennett, your thoughts on Alex Smith, and then also want to throw it out to the chat. Please feel free to use the chat. We love highlighting comments throughout the show, and would love to hear from you guys about Alex Smith, your favorite memory, what you appreciate most about him. What are your thoughts on him coming to Salt Lake this weekend? So to you guys, Marcus, Bennett, what are your thoughts on Alex Smith as the celebrity guest picker this weekend?
So my first memory of Utah football is actually 2004 against Texas A&M. I was sitting northwest corner of my dad. It was Alex Smith, I believe, 78-yard touchdown pass to Steve Savoy. It's my first Utah football memory. So I love it. I think it's fantastic. it's one where getting a big national name, a big product of the program looks good for us. Like, if there's a guy that nobody in the fan base has a single bad word to say about, it's Alex Smith. So I love it. It's fantastic. I don't think it's an outside the box pick, but it's the perfect pick.
Yeah, I really like it in terms of, keeping your alumni around. Alex Smith is going to be there on Saturday. Eric Weddle's going to be there on Saturday. Last weekend, we saw Steve Smith, Paris Warren, Devontae Booker. Long list of people that are, coming around. It's important to keep these guys around the program and keep them engaged, keep them connected, keep them part of that, Utah football family for life. And getting Alex Smith involved is, I think, a very good move for potentially both parties, as Alex considers what life is after playing football, if you will. So getting him close to the program, maybe get him reminisce, go through some nostalgia a little bit, and just, you never know. That could be a guy once again for Utah football someday.
Right, yeah, hook and ladder in his honor, maybe? I don't know.
Hey, there you go. Throw that out there a little bit. No, it's great. I think he is the perfect choice, right? And I think he's going to do a fantastic job on that set with those guys, and he's perfect for this fan base and what they're looking for, what they need, what they want. Are there any celebrities that you would put above Alex Smith? Who is on the very short list of celebrities that would top Alex Smith as Utah's celebrity guest picker? It's a very short list.
Like, as far as notoriety goes, it's hard to not say Post Malone. Like, he lives in Utah. He loves talking about living in Utah. He puts Utah in songs. He started off his tour in Utah. I was there. Shout out my wife, awesome tickets that I still don't want to know how much she spent. Anyway, Post Malone would be awesome. He's an entertainer. That's what he does. And if he's up there rocking the, the good color, red, it's not a bad look. Outside of that, Steve Smith's been up there. He's a celebrity. It's a short list, like you said, though. I don't know where else to go. I think Post Malone be the only other one, but I like Alex Smith for the keep it fam reasons.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Post Malone, Ty Burrell's the big Salt Lake guy, but I think Weddle or Smith was the choice. Weddle or one of the Smiths was the choice. I think we did it right.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's dive into the matchup a little bit more, and then Marcus will let you go. But with this Cincinnati Utah matchup, what are you looking for? What are you wanting to see this weekend from this team? What are you hoping to see from Utah this weekend?
I mean, one thing I don't think anybody at any point in this season has said is, Wayshawn Parker just got too many touches this game. So I think getting him involved, really establishing the run early, letting them know who we are, what we do, and they can't do a thing about it is going to be good. And I think he's a huge part of that. A guy whose name pops up every time this season on a big play, every time he pops up, is Larry Simmons. That's been huge. Yeah. So seeing him get more involved would be good. Unfortunately, I think Merriweather's out, so there's going to be a little bit of need in the passing game. So just getting those guys involved and showing we've got weapons all over the field on offense, and that the newfound confidence isn't for nothing, and we got a bunch of guys who can do that to other teams is going to be something I really want to see.
Yeah, I want to see Utah just be able to play a balanced game. I think that's big for me. I think Cincinnati does an okay job at stopping the run, an okay job at stopping the pass, where their defense actually does shine through on paper and on the final result of the game is they don't give up a ton of points. So they'll give up yards, but when it comes time to buckle down, they're pretty good at that. So I'd like to see Utah be able to finish drives, and if they find themselves in positions, also take points.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the thing here is, there was a question from Salt City Sports just about Cincinnati defensively, and this is a defense that competes hard. Like it's a group that I think there are some pieces here, but maybe not having the elite talent to be really good on a down to down possession by possession type of defense. But it's tough. They play hard, and it's a bend don't break type of defense. So they really tighten up in the red zone. So Utah is going to be able to set up some drives, establish some drives. It's all going to be about finishing. So I think that's going to be interesting. Cincinnati, they've got some dudes though. They've got some dudes on that defense. Jake Golday is the linebacker extraordinaire for that group. Christian Harrison is a safety that's really come on the last couple of weeks. So they've got some playmakers, but yeah, it's a defense that I think Utah should be able to, again, establish some drives, move the ball, and how they establish those drives, I think is going to be really key and probably something that we'll want to touch on in our winning recipe, Bennett. But Marcus, any final thoughts, dude, before we let you go?
I'm feeling good going into this. I'm feeling better than I was going into Texas Tech. That's the only game I remember us losing this year, so that's always good to feel better than that one. Again, like I've watched some Cincinnati. I think they're a good team, but I think the mismatches are in places where we like them. I think if you get the guys making plays that you keep this newfound confidence rolling, I think we look really good going into this, and I think it's going to be something where, again, take the points when we get them, but I think we're going to have no trouble moving the ball. And as long as we keep them honest on defense, I don't think we're going to shut them out. We're not doing what we did to Colorado, but as long as we keep them honest, I think we can outrun them, stay ahead of them, and we look really good.
Love it. Perfect summary. Perfect. Dude, Marcus, and you've been great to listen to over the last few weeks, over the last year. You've been a strong presence in those Twitter spaces with Glass Half Ute here, and you've done a tremendous job of providing a solid voice to game analysis and game takeaways, and that it's been a lot of fun to kind of listen to you over the last couple of weeks. So appreciate you having you on, man, and keep at it, dude.
Oh, thank you guys. I just appreciate you and Bennett doing it, giving me an opportunity to be on, and yeah, go Utes.
Hey, appreciate you, Marcus. We'll talk in a little bit, huh?
Talk to you soon.
Love it, dude. Great stuff from Marcus again. He's a gem in those Twitter spaces. Always has good takes, good conversations, and he's been good.
Dave Young,
yeah.
Marcus is smart.
Perfectly
we'll
said.
That.
Yeah, yeah, perfectly said. It's the Billy Madison just playing the flute. He's good. He's good. It's that, it's that. So yeah. All right, dude, let's dive a little bit more into some of these numbers and some of the matchups here with Cincinnati and Utah. So start with Utah, obviously 267 yards per game on the ground, number 5 in the country, number 1 in the Big 12, 54% third down conversion. That's a big number in the country. Number 3 nationwide, scoring defense, top 15 nationally. They've really upped the pressure the last couple weeks, and I think that's going to be a really big key. Cincinnati coming into this, number 3 scoring offense in the Big 12 behind Texas Tech and Utah, number 6 in scoring defense. So good complementary football here for Cincinnati, and the big reason why is Brendan Sorsby, number 7 in QBR. Obviously, Kyle Whittingham always talks about QBR being the best metric to measure quarterbacks and their impact. Devin Dampier is number 10 in QBR in the country. Sorsby, number 7. So he's done a fantastic job playing with rhythm. I think that's been a big thing for them, is playing with rhythm. But obviously, you already mentioned it earlier in the show, but they're coming into this without their top rusher, Evan Pryor, who is more of their explosive outside electric type of runner, whereas Tyree Walker is kind of the Nakari Rogers of that running back room, the tough inside guy, but he can still bounce it outside as well. And then this Cincinnati offensive line, out of nowhere, one of the most efficient offensive lines protecting Sorsby. And I think the RPO game and Sorsby being quick with his decisions helps with some of that, but really impressive stuff. So Bennett, for you, been yamming on about this game, but what are some of the matchups that you're looking forward to most in this game?
Yeah, I think you gotta see Utah be able to play its game with its rushing attack. You got to see that. Since he's going to try to limit that, everybody's going to try to limit that and force Utah to beat you through the air. But I just until you see somebody truly stuff that run game, why not focus on that, right? So I would love to see Utah just play its game of football and go out and chunk out 250, 300 yards of rushing offense, to be quite frank with you. I do kind of relish an opportunity to have to throw the ball and want to see Cincinnati put Utah in some of those 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, get Utah into some of those spots where they have to pass it just to feel like, okay, Utah can pass. But I think that's the big thing there. That's like the first thing I'm looking at is, can they stop the run? That's my question every week. I know it's a broken record, but can Cincy stop the run?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And, for me, the biggest key in this game is going to actually be getting pressure on Sorsby, because he's been able to operate in the pocket, with time and make good decisions. And again, the RPO stuff kind of helps them get the ball out quickly as well, kind of helps with the decision making. But I think Utah's done enough in previous games where they've been able to get pressure, right? John Henry Daly can get to the quarterback at that mesh point in the blink of an eye, right? And I think this sort of matchup is going to be really fascinating. And I think Logan Fano has a great opportunity this weekend against Cincinnati in that offensive lineman at right tackle for Cincy. So that's going to be the big key for me is the pass rush, and doing so with the base pass rush, which again, we'll talk about more. I've already seen a question about the blitz stuff from our guy Dave. So maybe I'm giving away too much there, but yeah, I think those are obviously going to be the big determining matchups in this game. Is Utah's run game, just can Cincy stop it, versus Utah's pass rush and that Cincinnati offensive line. So let's get into our winning recipe here. I'll let you go first with your first point in our winning recipe.
Yeah, I touched on this earlier, but want to see Utah start fast. Cincinnati's been very stingy defensively in the first quarter. They've allowed just 10 points in 8 games this season. They've allowed just 10 points in the first quarter, outscoring their opponents 97-10. They like to play that game where they get out front and use that balanced attack and just kind of control tempo throughout the game. That's what's kind of helped them get to this 7-1 record they're sitting on right now.
And chat, please feel free to share your thoughts on what your winning recipe would look like. We'll make sure to highlight that as well. So what are 3 things that you want to see? I always try to get my, 3 things, 3. What is your winning recipe for Utah this weekend? Please feel free to throw those comments in the chat. We'll highlight them while we're talking. All right. The first base ingredient in my winning recipe is playing with violence up front and being aggressive along the defensive front in particular, not necessarily blitzing like they did against Colorado. Although if Morgan sees opportunities to fire off some blitzes, have at it, dude. But I think more importantly than anything else is Utah's front four specifically, just playing with urgency and violence in this game. Cincinnati has a good offensive line. They do a good job of protecting Sorsby. So much there's such a strong point of emphasis in protecting Sorsby that they're more than willing to give up a holding penalty to protect him. So if you get pressure on him, you can draw the penalty, you can draw the dirty laundry on the Bearcats here. And part of this, again, as I've talked about, is their RPO game and getting the ball out quickly. And so for me, the best way to disrupt the RPO is by getting home quickly. And like I said, John Henry Daly has the sort of get off the burst and acceleration to meet Sorsby at the mesh point before he can make a decision. And I think Logan Fano, if I'm looking for a one-on-one matchup in this game, it's Logan Fano versus that right tackle who I'm blanking on his name. I wrote it in the show plan, but I'm not going to look at it because I'm just going here. But Logan Fano against that Cincinnati right tackle is a matchup that Utah has to win. And it doesn't have to be just Logan Fano. They've been rotating Lance. They've been rotating Cash in at that right spot as well. But that's a spot where Utah has to take advantage, get pressure, and beat that right tackle. So that's going to be the key for me is Utah's defensive front playing with urgency and violence.
My second ingredients was find offensive balance. So I kind of talked about that already. Going to have to be able to run it. Going to have to be able to pass it. Cincinnati's okay at both. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to say don't let the moment be too big. This is Utah's third time in the spotlight, getting a lot of attention. There's a lot of hype around this one with College GameDay coming in, ranked matchup, season on the line, yada, yada, yada. Don't let the moment be too big. You've let it beat you twice. Settle in, play your game, and act like you belong. That's where I'll pivot to.
For me, number 2, establish the passing game. We obviously we talk a lot about the run game, and it's up to Cincinnati to prove that they can stop it. But I think Utah can do a lot by establishing the passing game early. And with what we've seen the last couple weeks with J.J. Buchanan and Larry Simmons, I think you're starting to see some guys that Utah can rely on beyond Ryan Davis and beyond Dallin Bentley that can open up the passing attack, right? And I think with Devin Dampier coming back, I think you can kind of count on some of those targets shifting back to Ryan Davis a little bit more. There's just a lot of trust there. But I hope that there's a point of emphasis in getting JJ, getting Larry more opportunities this week as well, because Cincinnati coming into this, if there's a weakness on the Cincinnati defense, and there is, it's a defense that gives up yardage, it gives up points, but still number 6 in scoring defense. But again, it's a bend, don't break. So what I want to see is Utah move the ball through the air between the 20s, right? Establish the passing game there. And then when it gets down to crunch time in the red zone, that's where you rely on the run. That's where you want your offensive line to be bullies. So for me, I want to see Utah establish the passing game to help open up and preserve that space to set up the run game the rest of the way. Because after running for 422 yards, the point of emphasis, number 1, 2, and 3, the winning recipe for Cincinnati coming into this, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run.
You said that's a place that you can bully them in their secondary without going and like reading out like heights and weights and things like that and saying much more than that. A guy like J.J. Buchanan can bully on that side of the ball. Anyway.
Yeah.
My third is get pressure on Sorsby, which is easier said than done. He's the guy that can make you pay with his arm, make you pay with his legs. Cincinnati has the lowest sack rate in the Big 12. You kind of touched on that. They're not necessarily good or bad in terms of pressure allowed. They sit right in the middle of the Big 12. So if you give Sorsby too long, he's going to either find the open man or he's going to escape through a running lane. He's going to find ways to create some of that chaos. You can't be giving up big chunks on 3rd and 11 to a quarterback's legs. You got to get the defense off the field. So play discipline, get pressure. It'll be really interesting. I think we'll break this down here in a second, but it'll be really interesting to see what the approach is to getting that pressure, whether that be a 4-man rush or you start bringing some extra dogs and assigning some resources to that. I don't think it'll be as blitz heavy, but got to have some of it. So
yeah,
we'll get that one in a second.
And I think for me, the third and final ingredient in my winning recipe is be prepared, be energetic, and give the crowd fuel, right? That was such a big element to last week's game, was the offense and defense started with a bang and got the crowd engaged right away. And I think given the setting, giving the ESPN College GameDay, the stage, all of that, I think it's so important for Utah to give this crowd fuel to stay engaged, because this crowd will absolutely have an impact on the game with Cincinnati in that offense and the defense as well. Like the crowd is just is such a factor at night. Rice Eccles after dark is just, it's a special place, and it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. And so I think it's going to be vital that the team gets off to a good start again to provide the crowd, fuel throughout the night. And then again, being prepared and being energetic. That was so fun to watch, that defensive game plan and what it did for the energy, right? You're kind of worried about maybe a lethargic performance, an emotional letdown type of performance, but coming out from the jump with that sort of aggressive mindset, I thought was perfect for what they needed to kind of jumpstart them in that game. And I think that could be a really interesting factor with this one. And two, being prepared. Cincinnati has not blitzed. They do not blitz. They blitz at, I believe, less than 15% on the season. They do not blitz. They like to keep everything in front of them and just, again, play sound, disciplined ball. But this is the sort of game where, just like we saw last week with Utah, kind of coming out of nowhere with a 70% blitz rate, be prepared for something like that. Maybe Cincinnati coming in here wanting to test Dampier and his mobility and his willingness to tuck and run. I think that could be an element that maybe we see. So be prepared for the sort of curveballs that you aren't anticipating as well. So that's my third and final winning recipe. All right, dude. Let's do some rapid fire over-unders and get to some questions. I think we got some questions to hit on, but you wanna lead this one here?
Yeah, I'll do it. Utah rushing yards over under 240.
Ooh, I should have thought about this before I'm gonna go over.
I'll go over as well. Utah passing yards over under 205.
Over just barely.
I'll go over as well. Cincinnati rushing yards over under 140.
I'm going to say over as well. I think I'm just sort of anticipating maybe a Sorsby scramble, maybe some keepers that catch Utah by surprise. That's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I'll go over there as well.
Yeah.
Utah sacks over under 2.5.
Man, the way they've been getting after it. I'll go over. I'll go 3. I'm thinking 3.
I'll go 3 as well. Night game, home.
Yeah.
Over.
And that would be significant. You get 3 sacks against Cincinnati. That would be big.
Ooh.
Because that's been an element that hasn't impacted them this season. So
they've given up how many on the year?
Like 2.
Yeah, but Jordan Seaton also never gave up pressures, and then John Henry Daly came along. So yeah, Utah came along. 3. You got to follow your gut instinct. These are rapid fire.
Yeah, well, 2 sacks allowed.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's impressive.
Get ready to learn 5. Utah turnovers over under half turnover.
Have they gone without a turnover in a game in a while? I'm gonna go over.
I'll go over too. I watched good chunks of that Baylor game, and they can punch the ball out, which gives me a little bit of PTSD thinking back to that other game where balls were punched and
ball security. Don't turn it over. I think
security.
I think that was Spencer Reyes. I think that was his bullet point 3 different times.
Yes, I did see that, Spencer. Did see that. Brennan Sorsby completion percentage over or under 60%.
Ooh, I'm gonna go under. I was looking at this earlier. I was looking at this earlier. The two games that he went under 60% were two of the tougher games, tighter games. I'll say that. I think it was Iowa State and UCF were the two games where he was under 60%, and both of those were fairly tight, if I remember correct.
He's sitting at 65% on the year.
Yeah,
we'll hit him with the under. We need to have something different here. I think we've been in agreement on all of them. First Utah touchdown. I'll give you first crack at it.
Devin Dampier.
Larry Simmons.
Larry Simmons. Dude, look at this. Look at this comment from Hunter, dude. Taking up half of our faces. All of your face. Dude.
Wait, it cuts off though. Hunter, after you said end zone within, I'll start reading. Since he is 10th in the country in points per play at 551 on the year, and in their last three. However, they have only played a team with an opposing points per play below the national average twice and scored 17 and 20 points in those contests. Utah is number 7 in the country in opposing points per play at .222 on the year and .181 in their last three. Utah is by far the best defense Cincy will face all year. I wouldn't expect Cincy to put up more than 20. If Utah needs to find the end zone within, scroll.
Hunter, we need
Hunter.
page 2. Hunter, we need page 2.
More.
That was great. Hunter, good stuff, man. Just give us page 2, would you?
He basically said that Utah's the best team that since he's played all year, and Utah needs to play like it. That's what he said. That's in the heart of what he said. I see it right there. Utah is by far the best.
Yep.
All right, Larry Simmons. I went with Larry Simmons for my outside pick. Probably not going to be the first touchdown, but last time I said that Daniel Bray would be the first touchdown. He scored a touchdown, so Larry Simmons touchdowns would be nice. Final score prediction, Bartle.
I'm thinking this is going to be a really tight, competitive game, but I think Utah gets a touchdown late to go up. Ooh. To go up. Man, what am I thinking? 31-20 is what I'm thinking.
31-20?
31-20.
I like more points for the Utah offense. I like 41 points for Utah. And I like 27 points for Cincinnati. 41-27 Utah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I like it. Yeah, I think this is going to be a game where the game goes fast because both offenses are really good, really efficient, and that's going to be fun. So I think there's opportunities for both of these offenses to move the ball. It's going to be about who gets enough stops, and I think Utah defensively has been a little bit better at getting more stops and than Cincinnati has. And again, with the way that Utah is able to set up those short conversion yard situations. Okay, my back. I lost my mic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Do we have any questions we need to get to?
Yeah, we got a couple here. Big Z, what's the likelihood that we can keep both quarterbacks for 2026? Start with the heavy ones.
Ooh, buddy. I will say they're probably better than what you think. I know that there's been some conversation about the NIL stuff, and let me say that there have not been negotiations in any sense just yet. There are numbers floating around, and I've seen them, and they're not necessarily inaccurate, but I think there's a long ways to go in terms of figuring out money numbers before we get to throwing out what it's going to take to keep both of these guys in check. And I think the big thing here is you have Devin Dampier, you have Bird Ficklin. Both of them love being at Utah for different reasons, for their own reasons. And I think that's a big thing. So I think it's probably better than what you're thinking. But without a doubt, Utah's going to have to fend off some schools to keep both of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of this will depend on how things shape up the rest of the way. So right now, I don't think the chances are horrible. You get into December, and it could be totally different. It just depend on how things go. But I think it's a good problem for Utah to have. So I'll leave that there. Salt City Sports. What up, Salt? Do you think more than 5 Cincy fans will be in attendance? And I'm going to give the follow-up question that it got cut off. Are those 5 Cincy fans in attendance just fans that are bored on a bye week?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of Cincy shirts for that very reason you mentioned there, Bennett. But talking to Eric Lilly, who he's the Bearcat Bunch Twitter account, does a good job. He was on the show, did an episode with him earlier this week. He said that there are going to be Cincinnati fans that travel from Cincinnati to Salt Lake City, that this was sort of a bucket list game for many in the fan base. So I think we'll see some legit Cincinnati fans, but I think we'll also see some inflated numbers maybe.
Love it. More of a comment, but something definitely gotta, semi is a big loss. We'll do a quick 5 seconds.
Pour one out for Semi. Pour one out. He'll be fine, but yeah.
Love him. LW, do you think we should do more special teams trickery?
Man, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Getting the block punt, getting the fake. I think it's if there are opportunities there, hell yeah, let it rip.
I'm good with it if it's not on the return side of things. I want to be risk adverse.
Okay, that's fair.
But I did really like the block punt. I did really like the fake punt pass. Yeah.
It was, dude, and it was executed really, really well. That was a great scout. They obviously saw some things where Colorado was just turning and running to get the return set up. They clearly saw that on film and had a great design set up to leak Bentley out into the flat, and Phillips hit him with a quality pass.
Here, this is where I'm at. I had to complain long and hard to get Utah to kick the kickoffs out of the back of the end zone. So as long as we leave that alone, we can do whatever we want on special teams.
Fair.
Okay,
yeah, that's fair.
That's my.
And I think a lot of people share that same sentiment with you.
I'm a reasonable man.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, last week, I think kickoff number 1 of 50, the first kickoff for Utah, left it short and tackled them on the 22, so saved 3 yards. And I'm like, that's when you like it. But anyway. This is a great one from Dave. Does Morgan change his blitz scheme against what looks like a better offensive line for Cincinnati, or has he found something effective against anyone?
I'll tell you what, if there's something to be identified in preparation in film, Morgan Scally is going to put in the time to find it. And that's what he did in this one. Is they felt like they could get home with the blitz, and that it was going to be the best method to get Caden Salter out of rhythm. Now, like, Scally is pretty fairly aggressive when it comes to blitzing. I think he's right around 35%, which is pretty up there in terms of, defensive coordinators and their preferences to blitz. So I think it's still going to be a pretty heavy part of his game plan on a week in, week out basis, but I don't know that we'll ever see 70% blitz rate again.
Yeah, it won't be that heavy. But I mean, you have to create some kind of pressure.
Yeah, and with Cincinnati specifically, They do a lot of RPO, and the thing with the blitz is, depending on where it comes, that opens up opportunities with the RPO. So you've either got to feel like you can get there in a timely manner, or you disguise things and drop players into coverage where maybe you're showing blitz and you're dropping others into coverage where the RPO is designed to go. So there's going to be some chess match here with the RPO. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one to keep our eyes on this week.
Yeah. Bennett, is that moonshine you're drinking out of that jar? Just some good old fashioned H2O.
Dude, I've been Kendra got me into the mason jar drinking. It's
stay hydrated,
it's great.
Be a team player. It's massive. Less trips up, 32 ounces at a time. You can put whatever you want in them. Good mason jars. Here's a fun one. How gross is it that our best path to Arlington means TDS has to win out? For a rematch at them? A rematch? How gross would that be if Utah won that rematch and the Big 12 ended up with one bid? I can find ways to make it not gross. Right now, just focused on winning one game at a time, 1 week at a time, and see how it goes. I think after that BYU Texas Tech game, that's where you start to kind of figure who and what and all of that.
For Utah, it's all about this week. Got to win this one or else nothing matters. Like, you got to get this one. So this is an important one for Utah, and then the rest of the way, we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah. Is that what kind of candy are we handing out?
This one, with our current stable of running backs, will we be able to keep all of them in 2026 as well? It's pretty good. It's pretty good stable, and you're also bringing in another talented kid right now, in LaMarcus Bell. Obviously, Oregon is making a push, but talked to somebody last week about LaMarcus, and he loves Utah. But again, we all kind of understand Oregon is Oregon. If they want a guy, it's going to be tough. But Utah feels good about where they're at with LaMarcus. And so, yeah, I think they know who they need to keep in that room, but they also have another kid in Racine Guillory who they feel a lot of optimism around as well. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there is, some attrition there, but this is a conversation for after the season. There's still plenty of football to be played with this group completely bought into what they're doing with Mark Otuai leading the way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very much don't want to comment too much onto the what's going to be on the roster next year and whatnot, because there's still a little bit more to see. But it's a good problem to have this kind of conversation, these thoughts and things like that. HG said, "Flip the hat backwards, Bennett. It's over." So
there you go.
I flipped it around. I've been keeping track of the score. I have a mirror that's right there, and I can see what's going on. And you can tell the Dolphins don't affect me because here I am doing the podcast for you guys.
Just running through some of these score predictions. Appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. We'll wrap this one up. You've got the space coming up, so everybody will be able to share some comments and everything. Excited to see what everybody's got for Halloween. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully I can meet some of you guys this weekend. Met a few fans on last Saturday, which was great. Hoping to meet a few more of you out there. If you see Bennett or myself, please say hi. We're always willing to chop it up and all that. So come
find us at the Ute Walk.
Oh yeah.
That's where we meet. That's where we meet, and then we just kind of whatever happens.
Dude, do we want to tease this? Do we want to tease what we're doing?
We could tease this. We should tease this, or else nobody will know where we are and what we're doing.
So Saturday, we're gonna try something new. Me, Bennett, and I. We're gonna try something. It's never been done before. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna be brave, and we're gonna push forward with our bravery and courage. We're gonna do a live pregame stream from Rice-Eccles Stadium, just like you're seeing us now, not with chairs and with our desks and stuff. We're going to be just like our post-game live stream reaction. We're going to do a pre-game stream about 90 minutes before kickoff. We're going to go live and preview the game. So all the latest, that'll be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to doing that this weekend. Totally spaced that to share that earlier, but please feel free to keep an eye out for that. And we're really excited about it. It was Bennett mentioned it, and it was one of those epiphany type of ideas. So really looking forward to that. So we'll go ahead, we'll wrap this up, and we'll hop in that space here in about 10 minutes that Bennett will be getting up. But appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back at it tomorrow.
Appreciate you guys.